Yes, you. Welcome to the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast, a podcast for people who want to disrupt their lives for a good reason, to make it count. I'm your host, Jen Glantz, and every week I'll drop a new episode with stories from real people just like you, who woke up one morning and decided to make big changes, starting with small things. We'll cover topics like entrepreneurship, love, failure, and self-care. Hey, you're not getting any younger, so let's make this an adventure. Ready? Today's podcast is sponsored by Ours. When it comes to life, you've heard me say again and again and again how you're not getting any younger, and neither am I. But imagine you're 100 years old and you're looking back on your life. What would you remember? Think about it. If you're anything like me, you probably would remember date nights with your partner, bedtime snuggles with your kids, playing truth or dare with your first friend. That's because relationships are what make us human. They're what holds our life together. There's no real way to invest in your relationship, where Ours comes in. Ours is virtual, modern, premarital counseling. They want our relationships to last, so they've designed an experience that allows you to set the foundations for your marriage. Before Adam and I got married, we did something just like this. Why? Because before we said I do, we wanted to make sure that we knew how to approach life after the wedding. Ours provides couples with 6 sessions that are personalized to their relationship. The best part is these are 100% virtual. You'll meet twice over Zoom with your guide who has a master's degree or higher in some form of therapy, mental health, or counseling. Head of Relationship Health at Ours, Elizabeth Earnshaw, has worked with thousands of couples over the last decade and has created these sessions based upon research and what she found to be critical to discuss before marriage to ensure its longevity. Get this. Ours is the only company in the mental health space that focuses solely on relationships and proactive premarital counseling, which probably has something to do with why 100%, yes, seriously 100% of couples say they feel closer after Ours. Plus, 50% of couples who use this service are not engaged. So whether you're engaged, dating, or already married, as long as you're looking for a proactive and meaningful experience, this will be great for you. Ours includes 6 sessions that are personalized to your relationship's goals, which may include topics like finance, intimacy, communication, and more. Okay, but Ours is approachable, which is so important, low stakes, and most importantly, fun and incredibly meaningful. You're going to remember these conversations for the rest of your life. It's dedicated time and space for your relationship that you may not otherwise prioritize. It's protected us time to focus on your relationship, and I can't think of a better investment in your relationship to do now, or the perfect gift to give a couple you absolutely adore before they tie the knot. Learn more today by going to withours.com/JenGlantz. That's withours.com/JenGlantz. Today's podcast is sponsored by Clay, a beautiful and private digital Rolodex intentionally designed to help you be more thoughtful with the people who matter to you. I'm always looking for ways to strengthen the human connections I have because people are everything to me in both my personal life and in my career. Yet remembering details about conversations I had at happy hour or over a Zoom call can be hard, and figuring out how I know someone I met years ago can seriously use up so much brain power. Before Clay, being thoughtful required relying on my memory, as well as a mix of spreadsheets, note cards, address books, and so many other tools, in addition to it being so difficult to manage. But that's where Clay comes in. A stunning, intuitive, and private home for your relationships built automatically from the handful of platforms you use every day, like your email, calendar, phone, contacts, LinkedIn, Twitter, and more. When you log on to Clay, you get to see information about all of the people you've interacted with over the years in just one place. You could easily find a person's bio, work history, social media, and start jotting down notes, reminders, and more to deepen your relationships with them over time. Be a better friend. Be a better colleague. The most powerful way to never forget who matters to you is to try Clay today. Just visit clay.earth, that's clay.earth, or click the link below. Hey, any youngers, it's me, your host, Jen Glantz, back with another episode of the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast. Welcome to my recording studio, which is still in my home in Brooklyn, New York. It's about, no joke, I'd say this one bedroom apartment is like 500 square feet, not a little bit more than that. And recording here is really tough. Not only do you have external noises, like all the New York noises that we can account for, but you also have the internal noises. From Goofy barking to Adam talking very loudly on his calls, it's really a tight window of when I can actually record these podcasts. I have to bang on the wall and tell Adam, give me 15 minutes of silence, because he's on calls all day and he is the second loudest person in the world. I'm the first. So sharing a tiny space with him constantly can be tough, especially when it comes to recording this podcast. But I'm excited to be here with you today. I've had a really crazy week. In the last week, I've done 3 TV appearances. I did an NBC News appearance. I filmed a segment for Access Hollywood. And then I did a virtual live interview for WGN Chicago, all about Bridesmaid for Hire and things like that. And it's been so much fun. I absolutely love doing live TV. It's like I shine on live TV, which is really funny because I think to know me is to know that in real life, I'm a little bit shy, a lot awkward. But when the camera is on me or I'm on stage and there's a microphone, I transform into the most authentic version of myself. Now, some people might watch that and go, isn't that the not the authentic version of yourself? Isn't the authentic version of yourself who you are in real life? But it's different for me because I honestly feel the most confident. I feel the most proud of myself. I feel the most genuine when I'm in front of a camera or a crowd. And if that's really weird or hard to understand, that's just sort of who I am. I feel more self-conscious. I feel more self-aware when I'm one-on-one with a person or I'm at dinner with my friends. It's just who I am. And to be honest with you, it's sort of always how I've been. So that's just something that I want to share with you because, oftentimes people have to tell you the most authentic version of yourself is wherever you feel comfortable and safe and to be able to just express yourself. And honestly, for me, that is when I'm in front of people I don't know. And maybe there's something psychologically behind that, but all I can really think about is I've always been super shy, and maybe I feel like I'm performing a little bit when I'm on a stage or I'm behind a camera, but I really do feel like the honest, real version of myself. And there's something really cool about that. There's something that I really adore about that. It's good to be back home in Brooklyn after being in Florida for a couple of weeks. There was this interesting experience I had when I was in Florida. I was actually at the mall with my mom, and we were walking around the mall, which I haven't done in so long just because there's not a lot of malls in New York City. And also when I go home to Florida with the pandemic still, we don't really go to the mall. But we were walking around the mall, and all of a sudden, throughout the course of a half hour, I saw 2 people in the distance that I haven't seen in probably 10, 15 years. And I didn't say hello, they didn't see me, and it made me think about all of the people who see us when we don't even realize it. I avoided these 2 people in the mall, and all I kept thinking about is who's avoiding me? Who's seeing me in the distance and not saying hi? And it made me think a little bit deeper about all of the people in our life who love us, even when we don't feel it. And all of the people who think about us, care about us, adore us, even when their feelings are not right in front of our face. Which is to say, if you're feeling alone or invisible, it's not the truth. You don't know who is magnifying you in their mind, but isn't able to tell you that right now. And I think one of the best reminders of that is when you spend the day thinking about maybe who you avoided at the mall or who you felt such strong love for, but you didn't tell them, or who you thought about, but you didn't reach out. Throughout the course of the day, these things happen quite often, and we don't tell other people about them. So if you're sitting there and you're not feeling so great about the relationships in your life or the people in your life or anything like that, just know that there's a really, really, really good chance that somebody out there is thinking of you, loves you. Just you popped into their brain or their dream. But for some reason, and we don't always know why, they never said anything to you. We're almost at the end of August, which is so scary because I have this theory that once September rolls around, the end of the year happens so quickly. September is that catalyst month where everything just starts to fly by because we have the holidays coming up. In September, it's the start of the Jewish holidays, and then after that, it's all the other holidays. And then before you know it, we're counting down on New Year's Eve. So August is the month where I really have strong doubts about everything. I start to think to myself, okay, Jen, we're more than halfway through the year, and what do you even have to show for it? I have a bucket list taped on my wall by my desk that I try to look at every day. And when I looked at it recently, I realized out of the 10 or 15 things on that list, there's not one thing I can cross off. I didn't do any of them this year. So I started to say to myself, Jen, what is it going to take for you to actually do the things that you wanted to do this year? Is it going to take a reward system, personal sacrifices, more failures, or just more of your time wasted? To tell you the truth, I know what it's not going to take. It's not going to take me being mean to myself over everything I haven't done, or me feeling so much regret, or me just sort of recapping the whole year wondering what I spent my time on. So I'm doing 3 things instead. And maybe you'll join me if you feel like this year has really flown by. Number 1, I'm reading the list of things I accomplished every month. So the next list I have on my wall, I only have 2 pieces of paper on my wall. One's my 2022 bucket list, and one is my month list, where I write down accomplishments from every single month. So one of the things I'm doing is I'm rereading the list of things I accomplished every month so far whenever I start to feel self-doubt. Because without a list like this, by the way, I would literally look at 2022 and be like, you did nothing, you were horrible. But because I have this list, I can go back to January and go through all the months, and I wrote down like 5 or 7 things I accomplished, and they're never huge. Like one of them could be you went to your favorite restaurant, or you went ice skating, or you saw this friend, or you did this project. The next thing I'm doing is I'm looking back at my bucket list that I haven't done yet, and I'm picking 2 of the things that I want to do in September, just 2. And one of those things I'll try to get done before the first half of September, and the other thing I'll try to do in the second half of September. The problem with having these bucket lists or these goal lists is they just sort of sit there and we just think to ourselves, I'll do it next month. But guess what, my friends? We're running out of months this year. So pick 2 things off your list and make that the theme, the purpose, the focus of your month of September. And finally, because just like you, I feel like I am always so busy. I always have too much going on. I never have enough time to think straight. I'm always just jumping to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So to help with that, I want to find 2 things to cut out of my month that are time wasters. I had COVID a couple weeks ago, so I spent a lot of time with the TV. And by the way, that gets like super addicting. So one of the things I want to cut out is TV. I don't need to watch it every night. I also am going to try to limit my intake of TikTok because, well, I go on it way too much. Last night, for example, I spent the entire 8 o'clock hour on TikTok. But August is the month that I do find some positivity. I start to believe once again that years in our life can be different. They can stand out. They can really be extraordinary, even if they weren't that way so far. If you had 1 month to change it all, to finally start to let go of the things that hold you back, wouldn't the end of August make a really, really good time for that? Until next week, all my love, Jen Glantz. Hey you! Thank you for listening to the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast. There are hundreds of thousands of pods out there, so thank you for listening to this one. You can find the show notes for this week's episode up on our website, anyyounger.com. Subscribe, rate, and review the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast on iTunes so that other ears around the world can listen too. Oh, and join our secret You're Not Getting Any Younger Facebook group, where over 1,000 people are talking about how to disrupt their lives, for a good reason, to make it count. Until next week, all my love, Jen Glantz.